everyone. Are you ready to be inspired today? I am so excited about today's episode. Well, welcome to Michelle's Inspiration Hour, and I hope that every episode brings you hope, brings you joy, and most of all, inspiration. And I know that you're listening out there that everybody has an inspirational story to tell. And and I guarantee you everybody has one. So, I want to share a quote before I introduce our next guest. Don't be discouraged if the people around you don't see what you see in your dream. Most great people were doubted in the beginning of their journey to greatness. And that was by Edmund Vieca. So, our next guest, Vinnie, is an Emmy Award-winning media advisor who grows personal brands and a founder-led companies by scaling content distribution, brand visibility, and media reach. Vianney is the editor in the chief of I Have a Podcast and is responsible for discovering and amplifying the voice of independent podcasters worldwide. As a network executive at MTV Networks, and that's from 1998 to 2007, he discovered talent and developed new ways to support their goals, pioneering the way brands and business owners could contribute to their public narrative by making them stars and producers of their own television series. Early hits include Punk'd, The Osbournes, TRL, Eighth and Ocean, Wild and Out, and Challenge. Since then, he and his team at VPE.tv have continued to be well-trusted connectors who develop and distribute original content across all media platforms, especially podcasts. So I am real excited to hear about Vinny's inspirational life story. Let's get him on.
Hi, oh my gosh, Michelle, you make me sound so busy the way you the way you list all those things out.
Have so much energy and so much, to
Oh, I
me, you
do.
have so much passion that it doesn't look like it's work though. I mean, every podcast that I've seen you on, you're just so relaxed and you're going, okay, what are we going to talk about next? And I feel like that's how you view
That's
your
funny.
life.
I'm present and I am open to outcome. And as a guest in other people's homes or in other people's podcasts, I find myself often saying, "Yeah, this is your place, your rules." And it took my
Mhm.
goals and my energy to sort of get us here, but I believe in the outcome of people. I needed to believe in that as a
Oh,
child. So
absolutely, and
when
I love finding a picture of you when you were a child.
oh my gosh,
I've gotta
that was
bring
a
that
fun
on.
one.
I've gotta bring that on, but you started, and it's so interesting because, growing up and the technology was not like it is now, and you found
Yeah.
yourself doing all this technology and being a studio engineer. So how did you I know that's your start, your stepping start, when you get
Yeah,
through
yeah,
those
yeah.
goals in life. But how did you I mean, were you a tech kid? Did you love to take things apart and put it together? It Oh, did
Darn
you
right I
really?
was. That's yeah, are you kidding? I'm the growing up, I was the oldest of 4, so I could take apart my brother's toys all day long and break them, no
Oh my
problem.
god.
It was fixing them that became the hard part, but, you learn and you compromise, and, I learned that I could break his and then just give him mine, and I would feel just as rewarded,
Yeah.
to be honest. I love you, Joey, if you're listening to this, or Sal, both of those guys. But I would never my sister Nicole,
Uh-huh.
never Nikki, would never
Right.
broke her toys. Nikki and I we created a lot together as kids, and even now we're co-producers on projects for clients. Even now we're creating together. So it's been a fun journey. Yeah, I had to collaborate. I felt like I had to. I was better vested in working and accomplishing someone else's goal, to be honest, and helping people accomplish their goals more so suited than me. Some of that defense mechanisms, coping mechanisms turned superpowers, that allowed me to put other people first and trained me to sort of like minimize my asks so that I can minimize my disappointment. Some of the sad things that make us smaller and why we put ourselves in second position. But I'll say this, I didn't know I could be a better host in podcasting until I learned how to be a better guest. I can't imagine what's to come in the future now that I understand the full process
Yes.
of the people
And
that I
that
book.
and that's what I was gonna ask you, 'cause it's so interesting that you're behind the scenes, but you know what? You did so much work for people, to find their dreams. You found their talent
Yeah,
because then you became like were you considered like a casting agent for MTV?
a
Yes,
casting
casting
director at
director.
MTV at
Yes,
first,
yes.
yeah, and then they created a staff
Okay,
position, at the network called and they created a department called the talent development department, and I was brought in as the coordinator of talent development, and it was my job to find on-air talent and then to groom them. So I would go out and do these nationwide searches and bring them back to the studio and audition them and interview them and distribute it to the network executives, and if they got picked or when the
mhm,
people got picked, then it would be my job to groom them through the process, to get them comfortable on camera and to be, to learn the process, learn the whole process of it all. But I went to school and I went to high school in the early 90s. MTV came out in the early
mhm.
80s. I went to college from 95 to 99. What a killer time in
Right.
media when the internet is starting to get into most people's homes. Videos are now starting to be shared as files. A couple of years later, Napster came out, and that rocked the music
Mhm.
world. I was in college during a pivotal time in media where file sizes and
Oh, right.
discs and everything was changing rapidly. And that's what made me want to be a studio engineer, was to learn how to master tape and how to move it and morph it. And I learned databases and I learned transcoding tape and how to be able to make it editable and get it online so multiple people can be working on it. It was wiring two VCRs together that actually impressed. I think this is, I don't know this for a fact, but I think it's the thing that impressed my future boss at MTV the most, because when he told me that it would take me hours to interview people and then go down and edit the tapes and I have to be prepared, and I was like, I don't think it's going to take that long. I'm going to be careful. I'm not here to tell you that I know everything, but I do know I can edit a tape pretty quickly because I can wire two VCRs together. And they hadn't done that at MTV, and that allowed me as an assistant to sit at a desk in an open, area with four other assistants and answer phones and edit tapes and move quickly. And it was that technical skill set. It was databases, that got me into MTV. And for 10 years I was there.
Yeah, and it sounds like, you had the tech behind it, but you used it in a
Mhm.
creative way, which is
Oh,
really
thanks.
awesome. And we can do that more now because things are getting more
Yeah,
user
that's true.
friendly. But but being a casting director or executive, you really had to find that talent. It's almost like you were like a
Oh, yeah.
psychologist or a psychiatrist because you're looking at people's behavior and you're having to really look at, okay, how can I help this person, look really good, have a branding, and fulfill what they want to fulfill. And you did an excellent job because of everybody
Oh,
that you
thanks.
touched. So, how did you have an intuitiveness about you, or I mean, it sounds like it
Oh,
just
I
came
appreciate that
natural.
question. I'm a student of experience. I don't believe that I got cast or I was asked to work at MTV anything to do with my casting ability. I learned how to cast and cast a wide net and to be inclusive in the process, and I learned that part from some of the greatest people that are still in the industry. I think when I first
Mhm.
got to MTV in 1998, it was more about casting archetypes than the behavioral component of what happened in reality
Oh,
TV, shortly after. So when I first get to MTV,
right.
I got to cast Beyonce in her first film, and we
Mhm.
get a message from MTV Films that says that we're doing Carmen, a hip opera. There's a short list of talent. I'm the guy in New York, so I'm meeting with the director, and we're going to put Beyonce on tape and do that experience. So it's figuring out how to take people with extreme talents already and start to
Right.
develop their talents for the network. I met Mandy Moore as a 15-year-old because Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera had just come, onto the music scene. The teen female pop star was just on her rise. MTV thought, what better way to let the audience in on this journey than to have someone represent that with us. And Mandy Moore was a host, a video jockey on a show called TRL, Total Request Live, at 3:30 to 4:30. Kids would rush home from school. Imagine this. They
Right.
would rush home at 3:30 to get in front of their TVs to watch
Right.
Spice Girls and NSYNC and Backstreet, and things happened in those hours. It was magical hours. Um, it was access to talent. MTV was MTV created the music video genre, the format of music videos, and said videos should be about 3 to 4 minutes. They can be longer. You can orchestrate your songs. There's flexibility in what the music video could look like. But it gave artists 3 to 4 minutes of video time to tell a story. That's what it did first in the 80s that no one else had done yet. When I got to MTV, we basically gave the cameras to the celebrities and said, you know what? It's not just the 3 to 4 minutes. Give us 30 minutes. It was Sharon Osbourne saying, people are quick to
Yes.
judge my family. They think they know. They think we're the dysfunctional ones on the block, but like little do they know, we're all so
Right.
blissfully dysfunctional in that wonderful way. Newlyweds was an opportunity for Jessica Simpson to show the world what a modern bride could look like, what a modern wife, what a modern woman of 2000 or 2002, I think, at that point, who gets married. Back at a point when the media sure did have an opinion about the role a female supposed to play in any given relationship or any type of at any point in their life. And what MTV did was give people like the Osbournes and Jessica Simpson, even Ashton Kutcher, who was seen as a superstar, a movie star, a TV star, but he wasn't seen as a creative executive. He wasn't seen as someone who could create a project and it would be a hit and you could put millions of dollars on it. And he actually knows the zeitgeist of culture and has the ability to change vocabulary. He proved that by creating Punked and being part of Punked. Now, grandparents say Punked and kids say Punked, and they don't even
Yes.
know what MTV is, by the way. And it's the coolest thing to add words and energy to our experiences. But then I also learned that you can't change your reality just by recording change. You need visibility. So if there's no visibility, then there's no perception of change. And that's the thing that I learned. I learned that with the biggest brands in media. And now I'm helping us, independent creators, business owners. I'm helping us because we can own content now that didn't used to happen because it used to have to go through a TV network to see the light of day, and all the specific types of people for all the specific types of reasons would thumbs up or thumbs down products. And I just love
Mhm.
helping people now make content that they can make, like that they're capable of making, not that they should make, or that the unit that there's pressure, social pressure to be making any content. I'm a big fan of helping people create content they're capable of making, so that in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 1 year, 1 month, when the opportunity comes
Mhm.
to present that story, we've already created it. But we're in this world
Yes.
where we create to publish. You know what I mean? Like we create to post. We like even the chat GPT thing to me, this chat AI thing to me is interesting because, in school, it was taught. I remember in school, you're taught, think before you write. They say it, think before you write. And it's like, why are you only thinking right before you write? Why don't you think and then take action and then make life changes and then let it write itself? And I think that, to me, that's what chat AI, the AI chat GPT in that world, that's what that represents to me. Some people might say I have a form of dyslexia or some type of neurodivergent around. Or hey, either way, I love moving quickly, changing slow, and learning steadfast.
And I love how you make the point that, especially a long time ago, people were wanting to be heard. I think a lot of people are going, you know what? I have a story to tell. I want to teach other people this. I want to be not really famous, but, actually be known out there. I want to show people who I truly am. And now we are able to. So if somebody came to you and said, "What do I need to start?" I don't have any idea where to start, especially, a person my age. They might be going, I don't know. Am I too old? Should I be starting a podcast? What should I do? What would you tell them, Benny?
Yes. By the way, I think that people of our age, any age, any category of expertise, by the way, we've listed some celebrity names that I've worked with. I want everyone to know out there that like even the biggest celebrities out there I've had these conversations where they say, should I release a song? Do they really need another one from me? We all have these moments of doubt when what we can do and what we are doing becomes
Mhm.
too great. That's where self-doubt and some psychology sort of comes into play for me when what I know I'm capable of doing and what I am doing, when that area becomes too great for me, that's even where uh, what's the word called when you don't
Well, self
believe
doubt.
that you should be doing
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, self-doubt, like insecurity and like where so I have to be really mindful of what I know I can, make impactful and actually make happen. I have to be honest. If I'm answering this question
Yeah.
right now at the top of 2023, what's the first step
Mhm.
to do? I have to be
Okay.
honest, podcast guesting. It's really no one owns podcasts. People own podcasts. It's a very independent market. It's a very collaborative environment. I've worked in TV my entire life. I've been sleepless nights thinking about I have to shoot tomorrow. They're gonna ask
Mhm.
me this question. I'm like so deep in my mind about like they're gonna have this footage and they're gonna use it against me. It's gonna be the bad. I'm gonna trip up and say the wrong thing.
Right.
It doesn't happen in podcasting because of you, Michelle, because we've already done the due diligence needed to
Oh,
ensure that we
absolutely.
trusted each other to be in this space. But now I can show up in this space and 100 and I can say this now in 2023, I can 100% show up as my authentic self and not be insecure about any part of my background or my sexuality or my accent from being from Staten Island, like all the things that we tell ourselves that are, like who we think we are versus, and you kind of make me blush, but like versus when we get on this and at the very top of this, you talked about my passion and like, I gotta be honest, if you're picking up on that out of the gate, like that's my purpose right there is to put that word into the alchemy of what's being created. I want to inspire people to create. I'm passionate about that, but I want to inspire them with passion and that passion is going to help them get through the challenges. It's going to help them see past the red flags. It's going to help them get to self-confidence, get to the self-success that they're looking for, and enjoy it. And I say that because 25 years ago when I got into this industry, I was at MTV in an address where high performing profiled people were at, and I made use of it that time. I'm
Mhm.
doing the same thing right now in podcasting. There's a brilliant platform called Podmatch, which is like my number one favorite web. It's not even my number one favorite social media It's my number one favorite anything online right now. There's 14,000 amazing creators. Oh my
And
gosh,
I
you're so
I
awesome.
totally
You're so
agree.
good, Michelle. This thing.
Yeah, so this is Pod Match Guest Mastery, and I'm letting people know that are just listening to it and not able to see it. And it is a book that Alex, the creator of Pod Match, put together. And all these get the greatest guests out there on Pod Match, which you're one of them, Vinny. They were able to explain what
Thank you
a
very
wonderful
much.
host, if you're a host on someone's podcast, what you should do. Some and I'm just to stop right there. Why don't you explain what you put into your book?
Oh, this was neat. This was cool. Yeah, look, it's a guide to getting booked on successful podcasts and sharing your message by learning from top Podmatch guest members. Oh, that's very cool. Thank you, Alex, for the kind words. 16 of us got to contribute. We all wrote our own section of the book. I happened to write the last section of the book. So, as I like to point out, I was the only person who got to read the book who knew how it ended because I wrote the ending. So I like to point that out. Oh, Vinnie Potestivo, always trying to figure out how to differentiate, and stand out whenever I can. This was a powerful book. It gave me the opportunity to look at the last 3 months of my life that have made the change. Like in 3 months from being on this platform, Podmatch, I feel like I became a tremendously better podcast host now that I understand how to be a podcast guest myself. That was big value added. I understand where some of the confusion in my successes and my version of the story and who I am, how some of those successes have might overshadow what I'm actually capable of doing today, which is crazy to think of, by the way. I'm proud to say I'm an Emmy Award winning media advisor because I won my Emmy Award last year from, by the way, in this guest bedroom that I'm in my house right now recording this episode, not from CBS, Paramount Studios, not from any of the lots that I've ever worked on. I was able to network and actually win my first Emmy. I'll tell you the truth, because I realized the reason why I never won an Emmy is because I was never nominated. So I needed to work on something to get nominated so that I could potentially win. And when I realized that you have to pay to be nominated and considered on awards, and not just Emmys and Tonys and Oscars and all those, but the Communicator Awards and the W3 Awards. When I realized how many awards are out there for us that we could be winning based on podcast guest, podcast host, newsletters, websites, all the things that we create, to all the marketing that we create, and those are really valid awards that are out there that help us. They create data points for us to be visible. Winning awards is part of most celebrity strategies. Winning awards is a major part of it. It's winning, it's losing, it's going, it's dressing, it's all of the things about awards that create visibility. And it's not visibility that leads to discoverability, it's visibility to the power of shareability. And I think that's why the award season does so well. Celebrities are, it's like literally the ladder to elevate the brand, is through all the ways that we can share and celebrate in these names. And I love helping business owners and independent creators own their intellectual property, find success creatively and financially in our content.
And I'm going to go ahead and put your website on the screen. So, did I say that right? VPE.tv, or is
That's
it?
it.
Okay. Okay. Oh, good, good, good.
Yeah, you're
And
looking at my creator hub right now, which is so cool to see this in action. I spent hours documenting and writing tactics and literal step-by-step
yes.
guides as to how to accomplish things. So everything I've even talked about here, how to win awards, creator marketing platforms that pay, the podcast platforms you should be on, all of them are right here on this creator hub.
And I absolutely love that because, again, you're teaching people, you're still coaching them how to get on there because it is a lot of work. And I think a lot of people tend to, before they have those peak and valleys, and they stop right in a valley when they could have just gone up a little bit more and been so successful on their podcast. And so I think that with your service out there, that's really going to help a lot of people say, you know what, I can do this.
Yeah, yeah.
I can move forward.
It's funny you say the peaks and valleys. To me, that signifies, a journey, and there's like a physical journey component to that. I think I really think of life more annualized. I think that I'll take a summer trip as opposed to a journey. And taking a summer trip means that I have the ability to talk about that trip every single summer that I'm alive. I have the ability to talk about that summer. And I don't have to keep reinventing what I'm doing now to reinvent how I'm sharing what I've done.
Right.
That's the part that's, to me, that feels overwhelming, especially if social media is the part where if you're spending a lot of time in social media on a platform with, different types of ownership things and all the things all the things that go on with, social media platforms. It's the
Yeah.
thing that we have to create something new to be able to talk about something new. And um as I mentioned, I sat down with Mandy Moore in one of my episodes. She talked about the input dictates the output. She was talking about, I watch TV and we listen to shows and we read books so that we can make TV and make music and write books. We have
Right.
to, input dictates the output. When Chat GPT came out, I thought, what a brilliant opportunity for me to take a small clip from that Mandy Moore episode, create a new episode, and say, Chat GPT is here. And a year ago, Mandy Moore told us the input dictates the output. And here I am to prove to you again how much power there is in this saying. And then I didn't have to go back and rehash an old conversation, but I was able to bring new context to current content that made sense, that was relevant. That was a low lift, high impact, thing for me. It gave me a week's worth of podcast. That's, as podcasters, that's hours back in our clock.
It really does. And I think that is totally awesome because you can look at a conversation at different angles and you're going, you know what? I never saw that before. And I can actually repurpose it for something
Yep.
else. So, Vinny, is there anything else that you want to talk about that we did not talk about before we bring up the question, the answer wheel or the question wheel?
Oh gosh. No, I'm excited to get to the question. I'm excited to get to the question wheel. Bring
I
out
think
the
everybody is. It's
wheel.
like, let's bring up the wheel and see what you get.
Move
All
that
right, I'm going to go
truck.
and spin it.
Oh boy, wish me luck. Sound effects and
Hopefully,
everything.
you know the
Whoa.
answer to it. Oh, I love it.
Oh.
So, if you had a superpower, okay,
Mhm.
what would it be?
Oh my gosh.
I know I can see him
I
thinking.
mean, I know. I'm like, flying is so one of those ones that like I would love to say, but to be honest, I don't know if I would use it a lot because like it's terrifying.
Yeah.
The bugs and the
You might
atmosphere
get
and like
killed.
the spy balloons and everything. Yeah, you know what I mean up there. It's,
Uh-huh,
it's
that's
a weird world that we live in. The ability to be in more than one place at once, that would
Mhm.
be like that's like, it's weird to call it a superpower. That would be a dream come true if I could if I could coherently be in two places at the same time and fully be present. That would be a dream
Right.
come true. Maybe there's some
Right.
technology coming our way that'll help us get there. I think the other thing I would want to, yeah, I think that would be it. I think that's a pretty strong superpower, is to be able to anything more than two places. That's duplicity. I want to be careful about that. Superpowers. Be careful about superpowers. With superpowers, yeah, you're getting me to get it. Yeah, you're getting me to get in my head about this. But with superpowers, you have to like get bit by a spider or dip your hand in radio. There's reasons why people get, and it's usually not fun or pleasant ways. So I want to be careful about the superpowers I ask for. I know my superpowers now, the ones that my ability to help people get discovered, to give them visibility, to see what's I know those come from coping mechanisms as a teen, as a kid, as a deep dark part where I was trying to make sense of a lot of things that I had to give myself that much grace. So I think that's why I like this idea of being in two places at once. Because I don't know.
I think it's like teleporting, if I'm right on that. I'm not for
Yeah.
sure. All
Yeah, but
right. Well,
I don't wanna just be quickly in two places. I literally wanna be in two, like, I wanna
oh,
have, like, breakfast
I
and dinner
see.
at the same time in different places.
I gotcha. I
We'll
gotcha.
work
You
on
want
this,
the
we'll work
yes,
on
I
this.
understand.
Yeah.
Okay, like a parallel world, I guess, going on at the same time,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
together so
yeah,
you can
yeah,
remember
that's
everything.
you
I
see,
like that.
Michelle,
See?
my dream's coming true already. Maybe we're already dipping in between worlds.
That's right. You never know. You never know. So where can they find you?
Oh, I love
I
this
know we've talked
question.
about your website.
Yes. By the way, so if you want to put my information in the show notes is a
Mhm.
great place for them to actually see my information.
I can do
Otherwise,
that.
I will leave you a 5-star review. So wherever people are listening to this podcast, if you want to know my contact info or how to get me, search for me in the 5-star reviews or go to Michelle's friend list. Go to the V's,
Oh,
look for
thank you.
Vinny and find me in that way. But I like sort of making it a little bit more of a scavenger hunt. It's really about what
Oh,
we just created here together. And if I can be a part of what happens next and people tag me in the journey, then I'm happy to do that. But if you are listening to this and this is the episode that gets you to finally give Michelle the 5-star review that you've been holding on to for so tightly, it costs nothing. It costs ugats, a whole lot of nada. By the way, these 5-star reviews, take a snapshot of it and share it with me. If you want secret tag, you can at Vinnie Potestivo, tag me on Instagram. It's not about leaving her a 5-star review that matters. It's about sharing it. That sharing gives the visibility that's going to help her get the discoverability she needs to sustain this podcast and the message. So please take the snapshots and share. And Michelle, I just appreciate you going the extra effort with everything you've done in this presentation. Like you're a pro. I appreciate this.
oh. Oh, well, thank you, and that means a lot coming from a pro like you.
Uh,
And I appreciate you so much and all the information, the passion that you have in helping everybody. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, everybody that's out there. Thank you for listening. And again, I hope that you are inspired and get out there and tell people your story. If it's through a podcast, do it something else if you don't want to, but share your story.